Those following our renovation journey probably remember our original basement with the big oil boiler down in the basement. It supplied the hot water for the house and also the heat. That was in the way of our plans to expand the tiny bathroom down there. So you can see how very small this bathroom is and not in very good condition either. So our idea was to basically tear all of that out and expand the bathroom to over where the boiler is, just add a wall over there and make it a full bathroom. We drained and disconnected all of the water pipes from the oil boiler, but we left the oil pipe because we didn't want any oil to leak out, and we did have a company come in to disconnect the oil tank and to remove the boiler and the two oil tanks that were in the house actually, because one was in the crawl space, which was the original oil tank, which must have had a problem because then they installed a second oil tank outside. So we had two tanks to get rid of, plus the boiler. So we had somebody come take those away. But after we got it all disconnected, it was not too difficult to get all of the hydronic heat pipes removed from the house. Any copper piping we weren't planning on reusing, we took to a local scrapyard. There they recycled the material and you also get paid for it. The house didn't have central air conditioning either, so we decided to solve both problems by installing a heat pump system. This kind of system is called a mini split system. These systems come with air handlers which get installed into individual rooms and then a condenser unit that gets installed outside. We got a couple quotes for getting systems installed, but it was just going to be way too expensive for us. So instead, we decided to go with a do-it-yourself unit. The system that we got is called Mr. Cool DIY, and they have a system that is a little bit easier for a self-install. Now, I won't call it easy, it's just easier than what the professionals put in. One thing that makes a difference is that the line sets that connect the air handlers to the condenser unit are pre-charged with refrigerant, and so you don't have to do any messing around with refrigerant, which usually requires, I think, special training anyway. So we decided to go that route, even though it's probably not the best unit out there. We thought, we weighing the pros and cons, that it was probably the best unit for us at this time. Ben had a lot of electrical work to do anyway. He was running new lines for things like in the kitchen, for the new bathroom. A lot of the electrical had been outdated in the house, but luckily we got the panel upgraded. We have another video about that. So now Ben at least had a proper panel to work with. Our particular unit needed a 240 volt, 40 amp breaker. We had to get two separate units because we're covering the whole house and each unit can only have so many air handlers on it. And so also because of the placement of where the air handlers are and how long the line sets are to get from the air handlers to the condenser units, we decided it would be best to put one condenser on each side of the house and then feed the air handlers that were on each side of the house from that particular condenser. So we needed to get two 40 amp breakers installed in preparation for hooking up those systems. Doing the electrical work yourself is not for someone who's a complete novice. Ben actually knows what he's doing, luckily. And the other important thing is that we did get permits for the electrical work and we will have everything inspected so we will know that it's all safe. It's important when you install the electrical wire to new breakers in your box that you get the right gauge wire. And also here we have the ceiling to the basement still open, so Ben was able to run the wires up through the ceiling where they won't be exposed. But once the wires exit the house to go outside to the condenser units, they need to be protected in conduit. On the one side of the house, we actually repurposed the hole for the oil tank to have the conduit exit and take the wire over to a disconnect box. The disconnect box is required for your outdoor condenser unit in case you need to unplug it quickly. We also reused 2 pieces of concrete we found under the oil tank so that we could level them out and have them as a sturdy base for our condenser unit. We were happy to get the condensers out of the garage because they were taking up a lot of space in there. Here you can see our disconnect box with a surge protector on the bottom that we got through Amazon. And also we got 2 stands for the condenser unit so that they won't be fully on the ground, because in our climate they can be covered in snow and you don't want that. You can buy brackets that attach to the side of your house and support the condensers that way, but they vibrate a lot and some people have issues with the feeling or sound of the vibration if the condenser is attached directly to the house. Here's a look at the condenser unit over on the one side of the house, and then this is the one on the other side, and here Ben is just making sure that everything is level. Next, it was time to start installing the air handlers. They come with a template so you know where to install the bracket to attach it to the wall and where to put the hole in the wall for the line set to go through. These are the copper refrigerant lines, also the electric and communications cable, and the condensate line. Heat pump systems are very energy efficient, so there are often different tax incentives and rebates that you can get for installing one of these systems in your home. We were able to get a rebate through our electric supplier to help cover some of the costs. The line sets and the communication and electric wire get connected between the air handlers and the condenser unit outside. The condensate line just kind of hangs there so that any condensate can just drip out. The Mr. Cool line sets are purchased in standard lengths like 16 feet, 25 feet, 35, 50, and you can also attach 2 line sets together with a special kit. If you have extra line set length like we do, you're supposed to coil it up and put it below the unit. So you can see we have some of it down there right now. We tried to estimate as well as we could, but with this kind of system, you can't cut off the excess like you would in a system that you get from a professional installation. After you make these connections, you can check them for leaks by spraying the connections with soapy water and seeing if you see any bubbles. Bubbles mean that you have a leak. One of the last steps is to open the stop valves with the tool that they send with the unit. Here, Ben is checking for leaks. It's also important that after you turn the unit on and the pressure rises in the system that you check again. I'd like to say that we installed it perfectly the first time, but actually the very first time we tried turning it on, it did give an error message, and it turned out that we had one of the wires reversed, so Ben quickly swapped it around, and here the system is working perfectly. Our systems use remote controls, but they also have a Wi-Fi module in them so that you can use the Mr. Cool app to control your temperature. Another great thing about mini split systems is that they're zone systems, so that each place that you put an air handler can be controlled separately for temperature, although you do need to have all of the units on one condenser set to either heat or cool. So you can't heat one room and cool another room at the same time if they're both on the same condenser.